kids, Mrs. Buckley here. So we're having another instructional video today. This one is called vertical angles. So when we hear the phrase vertical angles, we're talking about a pair of angles. And a pair of angles that have a certain relationship. Whenever I have two intersecting lines like this, and I have angles that are across from each other, those are vertical angles. And one goofy way that I help kids remember what vertical angles are is I draw in these little fish shapes, give them a little mouth there, that guy, and that guy. And I know it's silly, but see how those are kissing fish? That's what vertical angles are. When you have two lines that are crossed and you have two fish coming together to kiss so that they are nose to nose. Now, I also have, I am not good at drawing fish. I have another set of vertical angles in this pair of intersecting lines, and they're right there. So here are two vertical angles. They are kissing fish. Here are two vertical angles. They are kissing fish. Now, what I would like you to do is take your piece of paper, write down the words vertical angles. And now that you've seen it, I'd like you to do a diagram like this, where two kissing fish are coming in from the right and the left, and another one where you see the kissing fish coming in from the top and the bottom. And we can call those kissing fish. That's what vertical angles are. So, kissing fish or vertical angles are across from each other when you only have two lines that are intersecting. And something that's always true about vertical angles is they are always congruent, meaning they always have the same measure. So if this guy is 30 degrees, this guy is 30 degrees. If this one up here is 120, then the one down below is also 120. There's never an exception. Whenever you have vertical angles, they will be congruent to each other. So let's do a couple of examples here. So actually, this will be your sample number 1 on your work. A picture like this. And this will be your sample number 2. A diagram like this. And let's have you actually just copy down everything that I have on my paper right now. So you've got vertical angles, you've got these two samples. I'd like you to write down this kissing fish, write that they're always across from each other, and they're always congruent. So let's do sample number 3. And we're going to do a sample number 4. You scooch that up a little. Okay, so if I give you a pair of vertical angles and I tell you that this one is 40 degrees, please go ahead and record that. This one right here is 40 degrees. If these angles are always congruent, what would the measure of the other kissing fish have to be? Well, if they're congruent, that means they have the same measurement. So if this one is 40, that one is 40. Always congruent. Let's look at a top and bottom pair. Oops, my line's not very straight, but that's all right. Let's call this one 155 degrees. So the question actually is, which of these angles is the vertical angle to this one? If you're not sure, fill in the noses. You can see where those fish are kissing. Boy, my fish are getting uglier and uglier. So if this one is 155, this one is also 155. So here's what I'm asking you to do for your independent work now. So I am giving you 6 problems to do. And in each case, I'm looking for the measure of the missing angles. Now you will notice that in the first section, I'm looking for the missing vertical angle. And we know that those will be congruent. In the second section, we're talking about complementary angles. Those are not necessarily congruent. What do we know about complementary angles? Remember, they form a corner and they always add to 90 degrees. Then in the third section, we have supplementary angles. And supplementary angles are not necessarily congruent either. Remember, supplementary angles form a straight line and they add to 180 degrees. So up here, they'll be the same measurement. Down here, you'll need to do that subtracting that we've been doing for complementary and supplementary angles. Drop me an email if you need a hand with any of this. And until later, so long.